Hello, welcome Year 8. This is our lesson for today. This is going to be the first of two sessions at an extract from Dickens Oliver Twist. And I know that you've been studying Dickens already this year, so I hope you enjoy this short extract. So it's a famous story, Oliver Twist. I'm sure lots of you know bits of it, so that's something that if you're interested in, you could look at it further. There are film versions, and the most famous probably being the musical version, Oliver. But obviously, it's a Dickens novel, so um, the musical is a popular piece of entertainment based on the original novel, Oliver Twist. So we're going to look at this extract. As before, with our reading and questions, this first session I will read the extract and go over the question, and then in the second session I'll talk through some of your responses and my ideas for some good answers to those questions. So I know some of you think it's the same word. So I'm sorry about that, but I think it's the best way for everyone to be able to look at the same work and get a good understanding, get different viewpoints. Even if you've all got good answers, it's nice to get that confirmed or see if there's anything slightly different from me. So before we read, there's some vocabulary that I think we should look at. So the first one is gruel. So it's the famous scene, the gruel scene. So it's very thin, tasteless porridge. That is what gruel is. And in the story, it refers to the copper. Now, that's not slang for a policeman. It is a big copper pot that like a cauldron, that the gruel would be served from. And then we have a pauper. So a pauper is someone who has no money, a very poor person. And then we've got confinement. So that means being locked away. If you're put in confinement, you're on your own. So think about solitary confinement. And then a parish. So it's an area looked after by a church, or the priests and the Church of England. They look after a geographical area. So the extract. So like I said, this is the famous section of the story where Oliver goes against all the rules of being in the workhouse and dares to ask for more food. The evening arrived. The boys took their places. The master, in his cook's uniform, stationed himself at the copper. His pauper assistants arranged themselves behind him. The gruel was served out, and a long grace was said over the short commons. The gruel disappeared. The boys whispered to each other and winked at Oliver, while his next neighbours nudged him. Child as he was desperate with hunger and reckless with misery. He rose from the table, and advancing to the master, basin and spoon in hand, said, somewhat alarmed at his own temerity, "Please, sir, I want some more." The master was a fat, healthy man, but he turned very pale. He gazed in stupefied astonishment on the small rebel for some seconds, and then clung for support to the copper. The assistants were paralysed with wonder, the boys with fear. "What?" said the master at length, in a faint voice. "Please, sir," replied Oliver, "I want some more." The master aimed a blow at Oliver's head with the ladle, pinioned him in his arms, and shrieked aloud for the beadle. Oliver was ordered into instant confinement, and a bill was next morning pasted on the outside of the gate, offering a reward of £5 to anybody who would take Oliver Twist off the hands of the parish. So there's a few more words in there that you may need to look up. So we've got stupefied, it's a good word, and the beadle is another character. Shrieked aloud for the beadle, so he is another character, Mr. Bumble, and he's sort of a law figure, like an authority figure. So that's our extract. And these are two things that I'd like you to do first before we look at the questions. So just a bit of thinking about the story and the character and literature in general. So Oliver Twist is a famous orphan. So have you noticed that? A lot of literary heroes are, so a lot of characters in our stories are orphan. So how many can you think of? So I've got a few here to start. So Harry Potter, James from James and the Giant Peach, something about a rhinoceros, um, Batman. So I think children's stories with orphans. There seem to be a lot of them. Roald Dahl. Think about Roald Dahl. Do a bit of research, have a bit of thinking. What Roald Dahl books have you read, and how many are orphans? And if superheroes, if you like that idea, think about those as well. How many superhero characters that are orphaned, and why? Why do you think being an orphan is so popular in stories? It'd be interesting to get some of your ideas on that. And then some historical research. So the story starts in a workhouse. What were workhouses? And what function did they have in society at these times? Think about the 1840s, roughly around there. But I think almost 100 years before to 100 years after were uh, a big part of British society. An old workhouse in Letchworth. Do you know where that is? Where is the closest one? So what were they? Were they all terrible places? Why did we have them if they were so bad? So that would be interesting for me to see your ideas on that. So, and now the questions. So we have 6 questions for you to answer on the extract with as much detail and textual reference as you can, please. So the first one, so explain 2 reasons why Oliver asks for more, even though it is a dangerous thing to do. Number 2, how does Dickens use language to prove that the master is in great shock when Oliver asks for more? What physical actions does the master take against Oliver? That's 3. And 4, how does Dickens show Oliver being treated as though he has done something almost criminal? And number 5, what does it mean to be taken off the hands of the parish? And number 6, can you pick out anywhere Dickens has included comedy and humour in the scene? Sorry, I don't know why that was there. So can you pick out where Dickens has included comedy and humour in the scene? Okay, so I hope you are interested in the extract and the story. So remember, there's the 6 questions and this idea of orphan and what workhouses are and the function that they had for you to look at. So our next session on this will be the last session where I go through the extracts. But tomorrow's lesson will be a reading library lesson, so maybe something to do with a different character or even Oliver Twist. So I look forward to getting your work and responses as soon as you've done it. So posting it on Show My Homework with a photo of what you've written is fine. You don't have to print anything off, but if you prefer doing that, that's fine too. So thank you very much and have a good day.